and welcome to CYC News for the week commencing the 27th of May 2018 and the 19th of Bashans, 17:34 am. I'm Justina Twadros. In today's headlines, Trump cancels Singapore summit in letter to Kim Jong-un. Populist cleric Muqtada al-Sadr coalition wins Iraq's election. Despite sanctions, Putin is pulling the world back to Russia. Irish across world travel home to vote in a landmark abortion referendum. The missile that downed MH17 may be owned by the Russian brigade. Memorial Day tropical weather system to hit ahead of hurricane season. Blue flames join the lava light show in Hawaii during Kilauea eruption. Ebola outbreak death toll reaches 27 in Congo. Top story, President Donald Trump will not meet North Korean leader Kim Jong-un next month for what would have been a historic diplomatic summit. President Trump announced in a letter to Kim released by the White House, "I was very much looking forward to being there with you. Sadly, based on the tremendous anger and open hostility displayed in your most recent statement, I feel it is inappropriate at this time to have this long-planned meeting. Therefore, please let this letter serve to represent that the Singapore summit, for the good of both parties but to the detriment of the world, will not take place." Trump and Kim were scheduled to meet in Singapore on June 12th for what would have been the first face-to-face meeting between a US and North Korean leader. Trump withdrew from the summit after a North Korean Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs slammed Vice President Mike Pence as a political dummy. Trump and his aides were infuriated by the statement and wanted to respond forcefully. The specific and personal targeting of Pence is what troubled US officials. CNN reported that Trump administration was looking to have additional high-level talks for assurances from Kim for complete denuclearization before the summit went ahead. Hours later, a North Korean official lashed out at Pence and said Vice Minister Pyongyang is ready for a nuclear showdown if dialogue with the United States fails. Still in the United States, the Election Commission has announced that anti-American cleric Muqtada al-Sadr's political coalition has won Iraq's parliamentary election. The Syrian alliance, led by al-Sadr, the Shia whom many US military officials hold responsible for the deaths of US troops, won by taking the most number of seats in May 12th parliamentary elections. Moments after the results were announced Friday, al-Sadr tweeted, "Your vote is an honor for us." He added, "Iraq and reforms have won with your votes. We will not disappoint you. All the blame is on those who failed Iraq." The Syrian alliance claimed 54 of the 328 seats in the parliament, the most of any coalition. The Fatah alliance, led by Hadi al-Amiri, took 48 seats, while the Victory Alliance, led by Washington's preferred candidate, Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi, won 42 seats. Al-Sadr, who in 2008 was named as one of Times Magazine's 100 most influential people, campaigned on an anti-corruption platform, allied himself with the Communist Party, and rode a wave of populist sentiments to victory. An opponent of Iranian influence in his country, al-Sadr is also a long-time foe of the United States and its role in Iraq. Al-Sadr was once the leader of the Mahdi Army, a powerful Shia militia which was blamed for some of the worst violence between 2005 and 2008 in Iraq. Some of his militant men fought and killed US and Iraqi soldiers. He formally disbanded the group in 2008. Announcing that it was transitioning into a movement to oppose secularism and Western thought. In Russia, Russian President Vladimir Putin presides this week over the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, continuing a charm offensive that aims to revive brand Russia. This year's forum features high-profile guests. French President Emmanuel Macron is scheduled to participate, as are Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, Chinese Vice President Wang Qishan, and Christine Lagarde, Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund. It's the biggest international lineup for the St. Petersburg Forum since 2014, when Russia was hit with US and European economic sanctions over its annexation of the Black Sea Peninsula of Crimea and support of a specialist conflict in eastern Ukraine. Today, Putin is at the center of a whirl of geopolitical activity. Last week, he hosted German Chancellor Angela Merkel for talks on the situation in the Ukraine and the Middle East. And on Monday, ahead of the St. Petersburg gathering, Putin hosted India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The Kremlin's message is clear: Russia is open for business regardless of sanctions. Kirill Dmitriev, the chief executive of the Russian Direct Investment Fund, a sovereign wealth fund created by the Russian government, said that pragmatic business dialogue could help bridge some of the massive political gaps between Russia and the West. And that's a message, interestingly, that resonates with what John Huntsman, the US ambassador to Moscow. Ireland will vote on Friday on whether to repeal the 8th Amendment to the country's constitution, which says a mother and her fetus have equal rights to life. If yes wins, Ireland is expected to enact legislation that will allow for terminations up to 12 weeks into a pregnancy. A no vote would keep Ireland's abortion laws, some of the strictest in the European Union, in place. Citizens are travelling from Los Angeles and Sydney, Buenos Aires and Toronto, Stockholm and London to have their say in a landmark referendum that has divided their country. Men and women from the Irish diaspora and both sides of the debate have posted about their journeys home on social media under the hashtag #HomeToVote, sharing photos and stories from airports, planes, cars and trains. Lauren Canny, a yes voter, tweeted a photo of her passport and boarding pass along with another picture of her wearing a Repel sweatshirt. I'm coming, #HomeToVote. We'll be travelling 5,169 miles from LA to Dublin and will be thinking of every Irish woman who has had to travel to access healthcare that should have been available in their own country. No voters also tweeted their stories using both that hashtag and #HomeToVoteNo, among others. Charlie tweeted off #HomeToVote, come on, don't vote to kill people like me. We have been unwanted, but that doesn't make us any less human. Breeder Video tweeted, I support saving the 8th because I don't want Ireland to mirror the abortion culture in the UK, where babies are aborted for any reason. The UK-based London Irish United for Life, a no-campaign group, also posted some stories of Irish people going back to vote against changing the law. The organisation wrote of the 82,300 capacity stadium in Dublin. Every year, there are roughly 185,000 abortions in England and Wales alone. That's over the capacity of Croke Park. Rebecca from Dublin told London Irish United for Life that she was going home to vote. Her statement reads, women deserve better than being pitted against their babies. I think babies deserve the right to life. They deserve protection just as anybody else does, and I don't believe that this is the best thing for a woman. I think women deserve better than abortions. Coptic Orthodox Church has lost one of its long-term and much-loved priests, Hugomen Johanna Gerges, the priest of St. Mary and St. Antonius Coptic Orthodox Church in Queens, departed in the 22nd of May 2018. He has been described as a beloved, caring priest who always tended to his flock. Hugomen Johanna Gerges was born on October 31st, 1922, and was the first to be ordained as a priest for the Queen's Church. May the Lord rest his soul in peace and give his congregation comfort. In other news, a missile that brought down Malaysia Airlines Flight 17 in eastern Ukraine in 2014 was fired from a launcher belonging to Russia's 53rd Anti-Aircraft Missile Brigade, according to investigators. The announcement is the first time the investigative team has identified a specific division of the Russian military as possibly being involved in the strike. Russia has repeatedly denied involvement in the incident. According to the joint investigation team into the MH17, the Buk missile was fired from a farm near Pergov. An update posted online by investigators said the joint investigation team was convinced that the Buk missile used to down MH17 originated from the 53rd Anti-Aircraft Missile Brigade, a unit of the Russian army from Kursk in Russia. The team's conclusion was based on extensive comparative research that identified characteristics particular to that individual Buk launcher. Fred Westenberg, the chief prosecutor of the National Prosecutor's Office of the Netherlands, said that the Buk launcher of the 9M38 series was transported from the territory of the Russian Federation and was returned to that territory of the Russian Federation afterwards. Westerbeek highlighted how this raised questions such as whether the brigade was actively involved in downing MH17. A total of 298 people from 17 countries died when the flight from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, was brought down in eastern Ukraine in July 2014. In Memorial Day news, there is 80% chance of tropical development in the Gulf of Mexico over Memorial Day weekend, and even better chance of soaking rains across the eastern Gulf Coast. Hurricane season doesn't officially begin until June 1st, however, forecast models have not been in agreement on where to expect storms will go, but they have agreed that it will form. It is now a small cluster of thunderstorms near Belzile. Over the next 48 hours, the atmosphere is not as favourable for development, but conditions look more favourable as we move into the weekend. The National Hurricane Center says there is an 80% chance that a subtropical or tropical depression could form in the Gulf of Mexico. The American forecast model has been very vague on the location. Most of its runs have shown that the storm moving across Florida Peninsula. The European model has been a little more consistent, showing a tropical or subtropical storm drifting ashore near New Orleans. No matter where this storm moves or however strong it becomes, it will continue to bring tropical moisture into the south from Louisiana to North Carolina. The heaviest rain will fall near the Gulf with Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, seeing 7-day rainfall totals of 4 to 7 inches. If it gets strong enough to become a subtropical or tropical storm with sustained winds of 39 miles per hour or greater, it will be named Alberto. This early development doesn't necessarily mean we are in for a busy hurricane season. The official National Hurricane Center forecast released Thursday will be a better indication. In Hawaii, people around the world have been transfixed by images of red and orange lava fountains oozing out of volcanic vents on Hawaii's Big Island. Now a new color has joined the mix, the blue flames of burning methane gas. A photo shared by the United States Geological Survey shows striking blue flames peeking through the cracks in a street. Lava from the Kilauea volcano has been burning through plants and shrubs, producing methane. The gas can seep into subsurface voids and explode when heated, or emerge from cracks in the ground several feet away. The United States Geological Survey said, once ignited, it produces a blue flame which is very dramatic and airy. It has been 3 weeks since the Kilauea volcano's massive eruption, sending a smoldering flow of lava into residential areas and forcing thousands of residents from their homes, and the danger has not passed. To health, the Ebola virus disease has taken the lives of 27 people in the Democratic Republic of Congo, according to the World Health Organization. Based on information gathered this week, the organisation also reported a total of 58 cases of the rare and deadly illness in the Congo outbreak. Ebola virus disease, which causes fever, severe headaches, and in some cases hemorrhaging, most commonly affects people and non-human primates, such as monkeys, gorillas, and chimpanzees. There are 5 subtypes of Ebola virus, 4 of which can be transmitted from wild animals to people, who can then spread the disease person to person. The current outbreak is caused by the Zaire Ebola virus, which has the highest mortality rate, ranging from 60% to 90%. The total case count includes 28 confirmed, 21 probable, and 9 suspected patients from 3 health zones in the country's northwestern province of Equator. The newest cases confirmed by the World Health Organization occurred in Wangata, a city on the Congo River. The spread of the virus into this particular city, which is connected to Kinshasa and bordering countries via tributaries of the Congo River, has raised fears it could spread more quickly and become harder to control. And that's all for CYC News, and a reminder that you can watch the news bulletin again throughout the week on YouTube. I'm Justina Twadros from the CYC studios in Sydney, Australia. Have a good night.